Hey guys, how you all doing? Welcome back to another video. So today's gospel is a continuation of last week's gospel, and we read Jesus doing so many miracles, including the miracle of Simon Peter's mother-in-law. And so today's gospel is a gospel with a lot of action. But what really surprised me, or what really caught my attention, should I say, in today's gospel is how Jesus managed to find time to pray given the busyness of his life. Jesus at this point in time would have been someone very well known to the public. A lot of attention would have gone to Jesus for everything that he was doing. And with that, there would have been a lot of people that would have wanted him, that would have needed him for healing. But yet, knowing that, Jesus still managed to find time for himself to pray. And so today I want to focus on this aspect, prayer, and finding the time to pray in our busy lives, and why we should try and find time to pray in our busy lives. And so prayer is something that's not very easy to do. Some of us are very busy. If you're a parent, for sure it's so busy, and difficult to find time to pray when you have to look after your child, make food for the family, go to work. And if you're even a single parent, it can be even harder. And some of us may have very busy work schedules. And so we all can be caught up in this very busy time of life. But there are so many reasons to why we need to try and find that time to pray. And these are the reasons that I'm going to give you. The first reason to why we really need to try and find that time to pray in our busy lives is because it is through prayer that we can experience a renewal of hope. And so in our lives, in our busy lives, sometimes we will go through a dip in our spirituality because university, for example, will be taking the better of us. Our workplace could take the better of us. Even at home with our families, we can be so occupied with our families that we sometimes don't have that time to pray, and we experience a dip in our spiritual lives. So along with this dip comes sometimes a lack of hope. We are going through such a tough time in our lives that we don't know how to get out of it. But prayer gives us the hope that we need to be able to conquer the problems that we may face, the struggles that we may face. And so going back to prayer in the busyness of your lives gives you that strength to keep going. It always renews your hope in God. And when you realize that God is by your side, anything that you go through, you can conquer with Christ by your side, because he is the one who ultimately gives you the strength that you need to be able to endure the difficulties that come in the works of your daily life. The second reason to why we need to try and find that time to pray carries on from the previous reason. So it is in prayer that we can find ourselves acknowledging the love and mercy and compassion of our Heavenly Father. And sometimes it is only in prayer, when we are in that one-to-one dialogue with God, that we can completely be honest with God. There are things that we can't really share with our parents, with our family, with our friends, but we can completely share with God. It is only in prayer we can have a proper, honest conversation with God. And in this honesty, sometimes we will have a right angry conversation with God because we're frustrated with the workplace, we're frustrated with what's going on in university, what's going on in the families. But in this time of prayer, when you completely open yourselves up to God, God in his mercy and compassion brings healing. So in other words, when you completely open yourself to God, and when you in other words ask him to help you, to intervene in your life, miracles will take place, healing can take place. And we see that itself in today's gospel with Simon's mother-in-law. Jesus had his hand held out to her and held her hand, and healing took place. So what we see there is first Jesus showing his hand, giving his hand out, and Simon's mother-in-law willingly holds Jesus' hands, accepts Jesus, accepts that she needs Jesus, and healing takes place. And this is exactly what happens in our lives. In prayer, we may come with so much frustration, so much anger, and because of the difficulties that we are facing. But remember this, Jesus' hand is held right in front of you, and all we need to do is come to Jesus, hold that hand, even with the frustration that we carry, and he will intervene. He will bring healing into your life. Reason number 3, we are reminded of the will of God. So you see, in the business of our lives, even when we do know what the will of God is, sometimes we find ourselves moving astray from it because of all the busyness that we face in our lives. And as a result, we decide to then do things our way. And we know a lot of the time that when we move astray from God's will and do things according to our will, we will find ourselves falling. But when we return back to prayer, Jesus reminds us of what his calling for us is in life. But not only that, but how we are to do things in our lives. He helps us. We must remember that Jesus is not just a spectator that looks at you and condemns you if you're bad. He's not like that. But he is someone that wants to intervene in your life. He wants to be personal to you. He wants to intervene in every small thing in your life. And so by being in prayer, Jesus reminds you that he is there for you, and he will help you do what you need in life, and especially when it's according to his will. Reason number 4, prayer is food for the soul. So an athlete, for example, part of their training scheme is to eat well and make sure they are fully nourished, because then only when they are fed well can they perform well. And the same goes for our spiritual lives. Sometimes we feel so physically drained, mentally drained, and spiritually drained because our soul is hungry. But if we feed our soul, and that is with prayer, then will we be physically nourished, spiritually nourished, and mentally nourished. And with all of these things, we can then go ahead in life and be ready for the challenges that we are to face. So my dear friends, prayer is so important, not only for our relationship with God, but for our daily lives too. And I know it's very difficult to sometimes find that time to pray. But remember this, Jesus sees your daily sacrifices. He sees the daily struggles that you go through, that we all go through. And Jesus, he's not a spectator that just watches and condemns, like I said, but he wants to be part of your life. He wants to be part of the problem. He wants to be with you, walk with you, hold your hand in these difficult times in life. So let us try and find that time to pray and have that honest conversation with God, opening ourselves to him completely and allowing him to intervene. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. I really hope you have a great Sunday ahead, and you're all in my prayers. Have a great rest of the week too. God bless.